Today on the channel we're going to build the TT02 Buggy from Tamiya. It's an absolute awesome build, so stay tuned and check out the build video. Hi and welcome back to the channel today. Adam from RC Action Australia. If you haven't checked out the first video, the part 1 where we talked about what we were going to do to this car, go and check that one out. I'll put a link above. But if you've made it to part 2, that's awesome, because today we're going to build the chassis. We're going to throw in a servo and the motor. Next video, which will be part 3, we'll do the body set and add more of the electronics and basically do a little test run, and then we'll obviously do a full run video that's dedicated to the run video after that. So as you can see, I've built the chassis. It's absolutely beautiful. I can't really fault the way that it went together. Yes, there is a few things in there that I would upgrade normally, but being a beginner's series, I really wanted to keep it as per the kit, and just so everyone out there could see that it is an actual nice looking buggy, goes together nicely, and it is a bit of a performer out of the box with a few extras that you may not see normally on a Tamiya kit. So obviously it only took me a few hours to build, and that was going through and doing some filming and editing along the way. So yes, I would say that it's a very, very easy build, and I'd recommend it to beginners getting into the hobby. And obviously the TT02B has a huge following for upgrade parts, not only Tamiya, but some other brands like Racing. Which sort of leads me into the Neo Scorcher that I've got behind me here. So while we're going to keep this one very, very standard other than a set of bearings, I have gone and purchased just about every single available hop-up that you can put onto a TT02 buggy chassis. So we're still waiting on a few other bits and pieces, and I've sent the body for this one away to a custom painter, and we're going to do a custom paint job. So that's going to be quite a nice performing buggy, plus definitely something different to the box art. So back to this one, let's go through the build series, and yeah, I can show you how easy it goes together. And basically, as I said, a little bit speechless because this is not something that I would normally rush out to buy, but I'm glad that I have gone and bought one of these, and I'm doing it on the channel because it's really, really changed my impressions of the TT02 buggy chassis, and I'm super, super happy with how this one's gone together. So enough with the chatting, let's go on to actually building this kit. So we start with step 2, obviously. That's where we're going to put the spur gear and prop shaft together on the kit, and basically step 2 and 3 we assemble those before step 4 we go on and install it into the chassis. Now it all went together absolutely beautifully, no problems, and like you could see there, I did add ball bearings, and I think this is the only upgrade that I will be doing for the chassis build, and I highly recommend it to anyone to spend that little bit extra on a set of ball bearings. So once we've got the spur gear and the drive shaft into the chassis, we move on to steps 5, 6 and 7, and they comprise of building and making the 2 differential gears. Now they're gear diffs, they go together quite nicely, they're reinforced plastic, and obviously you've got to build 2 of them, and make note that you put them together with anti-wear grease, not the normal grease. Obviously will give you a little bit more diff locking with the thicker grease, and obviously they'll wear better as the car is driven more. So once we've built the gear diffs, obviously step 7 there, we're installing it into the chassis. Make sure you take note to which direction you do install the gears. If you install them in the same direction, the car won't roll forward, it'll lock against each other, so pay close attention to the instructions there. Obviously, After we get the diffs in, we then mount the motor. Obviously, I've used the stock box motor and the 17-tooth pinion, and installing it into the chassis is very, very easy. So as you can see, the chassis is coming together. We've got a motor, we've got our drive shaft, and up next, it's all about getting those front and rear arms onto the chassis, and then it all really comes together nicely. Now, I got to this stage and kind of thought, wow, this is going together quickly and easily, and it's a perfect one out there for the beginners. So once we've got the front arms onto the chassis, obviously, naturally, the next thing, we've got to build the shock towers. Now, they are plastic, and obviously on my future build, we will be upgrading them to a different material, but the plastic ones obviously come in the kit, but there is a little bit of flex with them. So they go on the car quite nice, and then I was having so much fun building this kit that once I got to around step 20, I forgot to film or do any pictures of the shocks going together. There are an oil damper shock, there are a basic shock with no adjustability with the rebound, but they go together nicely, and just pay close attention to the manual. They are different sizes front and rear, so just make sure you put the correct shafts in the correct shocks. So once those shock towers and the shock absorbers are put onto the car, we really start to see the car taking shape, and I'm absolutely loving the build so far. So up next, the only thing left to do is install the steering rack. Now again, it is plastic. It would benefit for some upgrades, but we're going to keep it to the manual for the build. And obviously, up next after that, we're going to put a servo in. I've just used a very basic power HD servo. Again, it's definitely not one that you would use if you're going to go racing with this and doing, crazy jumps and whatnot. But for the average beginner, it's going to be more than enough to go out there and have some fun in the park. So that's it for today, and obviously we've just got to put the wheels and tyres on the car. They go together quite nicely, no problems there whatsoever, and the square spike tyres from Tamiya are absolutely beautiful for all-round performance, both on-road and off-road, and they are a very good tyre, and they wear very good as well. So that's another key feature for beginners out there. Yes, you can upgrade them. You can put a lot better tyres on these rims, or you can go completely different again, but altogether it's a very good package. Now, a little overview of the build. Now, I found myself so many times wanting to change things or put a shim here and there just to get rid of some of the movement in some of the arms. I've got adjustable turnbuckle sets that'll fit this car. I really had to hold back in really upgrading the car, because obviously we're going to do that to the Neo Scorcher, and then we're going to compare the two. So I did find it difficult, but it's all come together, and I'm very impressed with the package that it has ended up with. Obviously we get the motor, we get a speed control, we've got oil shocks, so it's all come together really nicely. So obviously the next video that we're going to do is we're going to finish off the body set. Like you would have noticed in the first video, it is pre-painted and pre-cut. We've just got to get those decals and put it on the body shell. And after that, install a few more electronics into the car, and then we will give it a little quick test drive. Part 4, which will be the last video on this particular car itself, we will take it down to the park and we'll give it a good run, and I'll give you a full sort of overview of where it lacks and basically where it excels as a beginner buggy on the TT02B chassis. Now, hopefully you enjoyed today's video. I've made a few little changes that hopefully people out there have noticed. I've got a new microphone, has finally arrived, and it's compatible with my camera, and we've got a few different lighting options happening here in the studio. So let me know what you think of today's build. Make sure you smash that like and subscribe button, and you can catch some more videos on my channel. So until the next video, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye.